Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm basically Bensky, and as you know, I've been diving into the world of 3D printing for over the last year now. If you're from TikTok, welcome back, and if you're meeting me for the first time, I'm basically Bensky. So one of the things I've been diving into with 3D printing is how to make this a sustainable full-time gig as opposed to just a side hustle or something that I'm just using to have fun making cool full-sized armor pieces and things like that. Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with either of those things. I just want to be able to take this passion of mine and turn it into a full-time gig. Any of you guys visiting over here from TikTok know that I have my market tip of the day where I like to talk about different tips and tricks to help you be successful at markets. But the next step to just doing farmers markets or pop-up markets is to do conventions. And we are so lucky to attend FanX here in Salt Lake City as vendors. Now, the whole point of this channel is not just to take you guys on this journey, but to also help you grow as well. So one of the things I always get asked, whether it's at a regular pop-up market or when we've done one of the smaller conventions, is what sells? Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I can't tell you what's gonna sell in your area with your demographic, but I will tell you what sells for me and why I feel like it sells for me. And that's why today we're gonna talk about the helmet that I sell the most of, because it's one of the easiest to print, it's the fastest to print, and I think it's the coolest. And in this video, we're gonna go over how I finished this particular helmet, and this is the Punisher Mandalorian helmet from Marco over at Mystery Makers on Patreon. And what a better time to introduce Mystery Makers, because they are also the sponsor of this video. If you guys are looking to level up your game with cosplay, costume ideas, cool props, or just 3D printing skills in general, then you've got to check out the Mystery Makers Patreon by Marco. He's an insanely talented artist who makes some of the best 3D printed files out there. The Mystery Makers Patreon has two tiers. They have the Youngling tier and the We Are Makers tier. With the Youngling tier, you can get your feet wet, you get to preview all the models available, and you get one of those models free every single month and a huge discount on all the other models available. But the We Are Makers tier is where the magic really happens, because you get an awesome welcome pack of a ton of STL files to be able to print and all of the current month models available to you right away. And the best part is if you sign up today and pay for a full year up front, you instantly unlock the entire library of models, and that's a huge, huge deal. And the best part is if you use my code Bensky at checkout for the We Are Makers tier today, you get to save even more money. Now that being said, let's get back to the video so we can show you how to make money at markets. Now, in a previous video, I've already showed you guys how I get these raw 3D prints into smooth prints ready for paint and priming and all that fun stuff. So we're gonna skip that and we're just gonna show you right into this going into the finishing product, because I think that's one of the more fun parts about this. So let's head over to the paint booth, which is really just my desk, but we're gonna go and get some airbrush stuff going and let's get this painted. So we're getting ready to paint this. Just as a reminder, this is where this print starts, right? It's all raw. There's definitely some visible imperfections. And then this is where we got to. So we got it all nice and shiny. It looks great. We did some sanding, we've done some finishing work. So we are going to primarily airbrush this. I have this Spectrum Black Widow. I got it from Harbor Freight and I love this thing. It's absolutely amazing. Especially if you pay for the warranty, because you can just swap it out even if you don't clean it out. So, the airbrush paints I'm using today are these Style airbrush paints. This is the first ones I've ever gotten because they were just in a kit and they work really great. Now, I'm going to do this in real time because I want you guys to know how long this takes and kind of how easy it is in essence. Now, if you've never airbrushed, obviously make sure you practice your airbrushing skills, but you know, you'll be able to, you know, kind of figure it out from there. Sorry, I'm making sure my pressures are correct. So we need to make sure we get our paint going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline the Punisher skull in white, obviously because it's going to, you know, amplify the cool textures that are already here, and then we'll be able to show you how we do some of the weathering and battle damaging. And again, this is going to be real time, so if you need to go through double speed to just watch this, I might not talk a lot through it, but maybe we'll put on some background music, make it real fun if my editing skills are up to the task. So the big thing about airbrush paint too, though, is it's really hard to reuse it once it goes in the chamber. Not impossible, but always start with less and then you can go to more. So come over here, test this out till I start getting some through. Perfect. Looks like it's flowing good. So again, we're gonna start here and we're gonna just kind of work our way through. I also, personally, my technique is to start on the inside where there's like forgiveness in terms of like trying to get my pressures right and everything like that. So I'll start here. And the thing about airbrushing is it's about layers. So don't worry about coating it, you know, perfectly the first time through. So we just started a little bit here. Now I'm spattering, which means my airbrush probably has a little bit of a little sticky on the very end of it, which, you know, it happens. That's airbrushing. There we go. That's better. Now, the other thing, too, is this is a Punisher Mandalorian helmet, so I'm not actually that worried about it looking, like, crisp and clean, right? It's the Punisher. He's been through some stuff, so we're going to kind of do that through the paint, you know? So, obviously, I followed that all the way up, following all the outlines. And again, it is about layers with airbrushing. And so you want to make sure you're kind of just like following everything in a weird way. Not weird way, but... Now, this is tricky because I've never ever been able to make the decision about how I like to do this because of how this is, but I'm going to do a little bit of a V today. And who knows, on the next one, I might do something different. Turn up my pressure a little bit. Get this fed through a little bit better. Again, we're just kind of outlining everything, kind of seeing where all the paint's going to go at some point. You can already see kind of, hopefully, how it's taking shape. Now, I've only been airbrushing for a few months now. Perfect. So now we have everything outlined. Now I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to pull my airbrush back and just start popping this in here again because I can, because it's forgiving in this area. Now again, I'm still not trying to get like the final coat here. This is just really getting everything coated and kind of watching it like come to life. You know, I guess is a good way to put it. You know, because that's kind of how it is, right? We're now seeing the beginning stages of an end result in a really cool way, right? Like, you know, this is what it'll look like, you know. And the cool part about airbrushing is how you get textures with layers, you know. So you can kind of already see where things are going to start to look more pronounced than they will down here, you know. But that's just because of the way I've currently painted it, not because that's the way it's going to end up being painted. So, you know. Again, right now I am just like coating everything. Again, just to give it that look. And, you know, I think about it as I'm painting it. Like, you know, we look at the Punisher TV show and stuff like that, and like he just like spray painted his skull on, you know, so, you know, it doesn't have to look pretty. Maybe that's what he did here. Maybe he did airbrush this himself and he was doing it right before he went into battle. So, you know, it's not going to look perfect. It doesn't have to look perfect, but it can look good. Okay, so we have everything coated. We have it already done. So now this is where it's going to be becoming more paying attention into like actually filling in the print itself, because I want the white to pop, but I also want to pay attention to where I'm going to have shadowing later. So for example, I'm going to shadow these lines pretty heavy. So I'm just going to make sure there's a good coating here. My airbrush got dry, which is part of it. You know, that's part of airbrushing. So we just clear that off real quick. And then I'm also going to double check that I have enough paint. Yeah, where you could use a little bit of a refill, which is fine. Again, adding more is easy. Taking away, not as easy. And again, the cool part about airbrushing, I can't emphasize this enough, is how forgiving it can be. So it's like if you add too much paint somewhere, you can just go over it with a black later and just like fix what you want to fix about it. Or you can just reprime it and just start over from the very, very beginning. Now I'm already realizing what I want to do is I'm going to use like a coffee brown kind of color to show like weathering and almost rust, even though this is a Mandalorian helmet. It probably shouldn't rust, but I want to give it that look anyways because, you know, I like it. I like the idea of it already. It's like stuck in my head now. Now we're just blending everything, making sure it looks semi-cohesive. Again, I'm not super worried about it because it's supposed to be the Punisher, you know? He's a grungy guy. And there's this really cool detail right here where it's like dimpled, and so I'm definitely going to utilize that for some like effect of like battle damage for sure. And that's, you know, that's in the print, you know, that's part of the details that Marco puts in there and makes it look fantastic. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Look at that. That's looking really sick. Alright, so let's keep going here. Now the thing is, we're still going to clear coat this thing after all this is said and done. So it's going to look even cooler. Now the question is, do we do a matte clear to kind of give the grunge look more, or do we still go with a high polished, high gloss clear? I don't know. I'll make that decision when it comes. That's the thing about art and doing things like this, is like don't limit yourself to a plan, you know? Like, go ahead and explore, do what feels right, you know? Again, I'm actually wanting this overspray because in my mind the Punisher would have had some overspray. Look at that. So as you can see here, it's a little uneven, so we're going to come back here and make sure we coat this so it looks more even. Again, I'm not trying to have it be perfect because it's not supposed to be, but I also don't want it to look dumb. And that's just part of the like instance here. But you know, as you can see, guys, we've been talking and painting for 11 minutes or so. So like, this is how fast this can come to life for you guys if you guys want it to. And I'm also realizing I'm 100% committed to the idea of going with like a coffee brown pigment to like give myself some battle damage or some like rust look. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna go through that. Now, in terms of the inner visor, I think I've told you guys in a previous video, but I'm going to tell you right now, I use PC mesh. I'll show you what that looks like, but it's the mesh that they use to cool PCs down. And it's because it's really fine, but it's also like really breathable, and it's also easy to paint. And so, yeah, we'll get that installed and show you what that looks like here in a second. But that looks pretty good. We're gonna switch paints, and we're gonna go over to the coffee brown and give this some more depth in terms of like rust and things like that. So Oh, perfect. We have like literally just enough to just clean this out. So we'll pause you guys here. We'll get this swapped over and then we'll get into that. Okay, so we got the airbrush cleaned out and we are grabbing our laptop that's falling on the ground because I'm unhinged right now. No. So yeah, so we go ahead and mix. This is Coffee Brown, again, from Style RW. Definitely only doing a couple drops of this to just, because I'm not going to need a lot. So first of all, that pressure is way too high. We need to turn this down. You guys will learn how well your airbrush wants to play. Okay, so we have a dimple here. We have a dimple here. We have some cutouts here. I want to emphasize all of these, and then even in the fins here, that there's like some rust and battle damage. And so I'm going to come in here with just this dot, and I'm actually just going to pull it in until it starts dripping. And so we actually got this really cool effect right there where it's like dripping out of there because we were sloppy, but that's a good thing. And so we're going to give this one another one, but we might give this one a little bit more drip. Yeah, just like that. See? That's how we did that one. And then I'm going to come and hit up here where these little cutouts are. Just kind of, again, this is kind of supposed to be a little battle damagey, so I'm going to let it like kind of splatter a little bit. Let it get a little sloppy. Oh yeah, that's a good one. You know, I'm not even going to do that one. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to get the very edges of this to kind of give it a little bit more depth. We're going to do the same thing up here. And I'm definitely not worried about like having straight lines or coverage because it's supposed to be like dirt, you know? You know, so if my hand shakes a little bit more than usual, then my hand shakes a little bit more than usual. It looks more, I don't know, I think it looks more natural that way. Now the cool part about airbrushes is you can trick them into doing something they might not want to do. And one of those things is to have the airbrush splatter. So if I turn my air basically all the way down and then I come to pull the trigger, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's just splattering. And the reason I want that is because I'm going to come in here and I'm going to splatter across the helmet to give it more of a we were in this dirt kind of element to it. Again, giving it more depth. You can't even hear the airbrush working, but it's pushing out just enough stuff oh yeah. And that is my alarm. It is literally pumping out just enough little bit of air just to get it out of there. Anyways, so we did that, and then yeah, we can look and you can see that it has like all these little tiny splatters everywhere. And again, it's just giving it this effect like it's dirty. This looks worn, this looks dirty. We're actually going to come up and use a little bit more. I'm going to come around the eyes a little bit, kind of really give the eyes some dirty depth. And there we go. I'm going to give a little bit more, put a little bit on the nose. There we go. See, we've given it just a little bit of a bridge of effect here, just to, you know, you got to think, right, he's coming into battle, so this is all coming out here, so we'll give a little bit of brown over here, give a little bit of brown this way, you know. Just make it look like this helmet's seen some things, you know what I'm saying? Because it probably has. Blend this out. So now what I'm doing is just giving an overall blend to some of these colors, just so that it looks, again, like it's just, this is what happened to this helmet, you know? Okay, cool. So now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna show you how the PC mesh is done, and then what's crazy is it'll be done after that. So let's get that going. So for anybody who's confused, this is PC mesh. This is a super thin, and you can see when I put this over, you can still see through everything. I'm all the way up on the camera, and you can see through everything. It's not perfect, but you can see through it. And these dots are so small that what's cool is when you put it in a visor like this, in a helmet, you can, gives you the illusion like it's solid, but you can in fact still see through this, and it takes to airbrushing really, really well. So we're gonna make sure these fit, we're gonna put them in place, and then we're gonna airbrush them black. So there you have it, just a couple pieces of super glue, or some super glue, scissors, and you can get this cut out. Now, Marco does have the visor templates on there if you want to do like a vacuum formed visor, or if you just want to cut out some really nice plastic and things like that. There is that option. I just like this option for me personally. You guys don't have to do this, but I wanted to show you how it's done. And now we're just gonna paint this black, and then we're gonna be done. All right, so let's get this in here. Let's just start going for it. Now, I'm not afraid to get it towards the outline of the eye sockets, or really any of the sockets, because again, it adds more to the depth of everything. But again, this PC mesh is fantastic because it absorbs all this paint while still being see-through. Now, the other thing though about it is you don't want to stay, when airbrushing it, you don't want to stay in one spot too long, because it'll like push itself out. There we go. And look how clean that looks. Now we're just going to finish the other eye, and we'll go from there. And we'll do the bottom part too. Oh, just that looks good. But, whoa, I hit the camera. Sorry about that, guys. Now we're going to do inside the nose. I'm actually really liking how the double depth of the black and the brown is looking like in this area particularly. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Oh yeah, I really like how that turned out. And that's why we say it. Mistakes make magic, baby. And it's giving it some real like age look while also giving it some like that dirt look with the black and the brown. Oh yeah. That's good, that's good. Okay, so now all we're gonna do is we're gonna give this a really nice clear coat. We'll wipe it down with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol just to make sure any of the like stragglers of the overspray get taken care of. Again, we want some of it to stay there, but there's some stuff up here that we wanna get rid of. Then we're gonna go ahead and clear coat this, and then it'll be all done. All right, guys, there you go. We have it done here. Now, again, this whole video is kind of about what things I'm using to make money at the markets. And this, again, is one of my best sellers. And what's great is between material costs and paint costs and some sanding costs, not my labor, it's only about $18 to make this entire helmet from start to finish. Now, if you're curious about the cost for your print jobs, make sure you look down below for my Brim app. It's an app I designed so that you can go and look and figure out exactly what a project is costing you and what you should sell it for. Now for me, I sell this anywhere between $100 and $200 depending on the show I'm at, because you want to raise your prices at higher end shows just because that's how the game goes. But also the more complicated the paint job is and things like that, that's how we're going to get higher numbers, $200, things like that. But again, this base starts at $100, and for $18 in materials and such, I'm pretty happy with that. Again, guys, this came from Mystery Makers. Marco is an amazing artist and an amazing designer. These files print super well. They very rarely need any help in terms of reslicing and things like that. And they're really easy to work with once they're printed. So head on over there if you want to get on your cosplay game, or again, if you want to learn how to make money like I am through 3D printing. This is, again, one of my best sellers, and it's simple, it's fun, and it's effective because it's unique and it's different, and it's a Mystery Makers exclusive. So make sure you go over there. Now, guys, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Make sure you like this video and give a comment on what helmet you want to see me do next, especially if you're a member from Mystery Makers. Let me know which one you want to see next. And guys, don't forget, mistakes make magic, baby.